Integrity is a great word, isn't it? I'm sure you've all enjoyed being spoken at, yelled at, shouted at. Maybe you're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. It's quite a possibility, but hopefully I'm going to make this a dynamic discussion. Integrity is a word that goes beyond mere practicalities. It's something that is showcased time and time again. I think it is good that I'm here for the 14th edition of what Willie Matenza has done. I think it stands the test of investigation that good ideas do work. So prior to me starting off, I'd like to give a round of applause to Willie Matenza, who's organised this through. So, a bit about me. I'm an explorer and I moonlight as an entrepreneur. For over 17 years, I've travelled to over 71 countries across the globe, bringing together the conversations that define nations, but also increase investments. When I was phone called by Willie, whilst I was in Suriname in the deep Amazon rainforest to say, hey, here's a panel discussion that I think you'll enjoy, especially given the work that we do at the Global Indian Network, I was thrilled. But more importantly, I realized the weight of expectations on my shoulders. Now, I may say something here that no politician will say, and I'm awarded to do so because we have a pretty big platform and we no longer have to care. We bring over 60 billion in private net worth on our platform. We're in over 48 countries. And by the way, we have lots of heads of states and ministers that work alongside us. The word I'm going to say is expectations. My dear panelists that will be joining me here are diplomats. But we forget one thing. Amongst the great rosy conversations, real people's lives are at stake. Every single policy you make, every single decision that is taken, real generations will be impacted. Let us not forget this. In a world where common sense is everything but common, we too must make a stance. So I'm going to invite my panelists up. I've been directed from the advertorial management that each one has a 3-minute spiel. It's absolutely fine, I'll give you that. But then after that, I'm going to ask you the questions that define what our perspectives are. More importantly, the questions that I think deep underneath are the things that you want to hear. So my panelists are, and they included, please come up, is Ambassador Madhvani from Tanzania. I'm going to do this as a karaoke machine. The next panelist is Ambassador Joseph, the Deputy High Commissioner from Kenya. My next speaker is Abdullah Almasoud, the Saudi Commercial Attaché in the United Kingdom. Next is Joseph Kabakeza, the Trade and Investment from Rwanda Commission, UK. Next is James Thon Anyar, the Consular Embassy of the Republic of South Sudan. I know we've had some good conversations earlier, James. You're lucky. Cool. And I think that's it. That should be all my list here. Make sure you stand a bit closer together. We're all good friends here at the time being. Now, I do realize that my panelists here want to take the opportunities to come up and discuss to you almost like a Dragon's Den style event about what their government's currently doing. But prior to that, let me put the figures in perspective. The panel discussion today is about driving growth through diplomacy and unlocking East Africa's potential. And finally, the Ambassador Nimisha Jayant from Uganda, of course, the final ambassador to join the stage. And as she does come up, I'll continue. So the whole promise of today's event is driving growth through diplomacy and unlocking East Africa's potential. Now, I want to put something in very good context for you. The figures in the United Kingdom. The minority businesses here contribute over $26 billion, or pounds rather, to the UK economy. Over 400,000 people of East African origin call the UK home. As a Global Indian Network, we account to over 6 billion of that. So we know that there is a ready-made marketplace here. But diplomacy is much more than looking good. It's about practicing economic and public diplomacy. So for my next guest, I'm going to invite each panelist to come up for their 3-minute hard stop, and then we can start the discussion piece. So first of all, my gentleman on the right-hand side, you have 3 minutes to introduce yourself and give the crowd your roaring speech.
Thank you. My name is Ambassador Joseph Warui, Deputy High Commissioner here in London for Kenya. I'm here just to speak about Kenya positioning herself to attract investors. Honorable ministers, high commissioners, government representatives, and distinguished guests. It is my great pleasure to join you today at this summit. Kenya is situated at the heart of East Africa, offers a strategic entryway to one of the fastest growing regions in the world. Kenya boasts of the following advantage among others. Robust economic growth has been maintained with commendable economic growth trajectory with an average annual GDP growth rate over 5% in the recent years. Diverse economy with thriving sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, finance, and technology. Strategic location with thriving sector such as, at the gateway to East Africa with access to over 250 million consumers in East Africa Community, EAC, and the larger Africa market through the African continent free trade area for market expansion. Investment-friendly policies has been enacted to attract and protect foreign investment, including tax incentives, streamlined regulatory procedures, and guarantees against expropriations, ensuring a conducive environment for business growth and profitability. Infrastructure development with significant investment in transportation, energy, telecommunication, and urban development projects, ongoing expansion of ports, roads, railway, and airport to enhance connectivity and facilitate movement of goods and people. Also, Kenya has youthful and educated workforce, comprising young and dynamic workforce with a large percentage of the population under the age of 35, and skilled professionals in various fields, offering investors access to talented labor pool. Kenya presents an array of lucrative investment opportunities across diverse sectors, each with its substantial market growth. These include technology and innovation, renewable energy, agriculture and business, financial services, infrastructure development, healthcare services, real estate and construction, export-oriented industries, tourism and hospitality, green bonds and sustainable finance, mining and mining. Kenya has pursued various strategies in attracting foreign investors and stimulate business growth. Ladies and gentlemen, because of time, there is a lot we can talk about Kenya, but Kenya is the gateway of East Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Ooh. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate.
Ooh, spot on. And like every good African and Indian wedding, we have one more. Please introduce my fellow guests as well from Somalia. Please come up on the stage as well. Now, I understand that there's another person that would like to make a quick speech prior to us commencing. You're nodding your head there with assurance. Why don't you come over? You got your 3 minutes. My clock is here. So mind you, if you go over 3 minutes, you will get a hard stare. So for the court and jury, you can see there is a timer here. He is a man of integrity, is he not? Of course he is. So he will stick to the timing. Of course he would. There you go. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This presentation normally takes 2 hours, but I'm going to give it in 3 minutes. Allow me to start. The previous speakers talked about, if you have success stories, shout them out. Let me just shout these stories on Rwanda. Rwanda is the sixth fastest growing economy in Africa. I think Uganda is ahead of us on that. And we are the safest country, fifth safest country in the world. Lowest ratio of corruption. There is zero corruption or zero tolerance policy in Rwanda. We have a business-friendly environment. We are a regional platform for IT, and we are an IT-ready state. That is the success story. How did we get there? I think what it calls for every country is just to set the basics right. And I thank the honorable speakers and the previous speakers from Uganda, what they talked about, not only Uganda, but entire region, and making reference to Rwanda in some cases. And what Rwanda did was to set up policies and institutions that create a big, good, friendly environment for business. And there we rank one of the best countries where it is easy to do business. Second is to enact policies that are business friendly and setting up appropriate institutions. In Rwanda, you will hear of an institution called Rwanda Development Board. That is your gateway into Rwanda. You want to know about business opportunities, information about business, having your business registered, it is all in one-stop shop in Rwanda. And entire process takes less than 6 hours, and you have your registration certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, there are quite a lot of opportunities for investment in Rwanda. I will just say the headlines. If you want the details, you come to me later. There is in manufacturing, especially light manufacturing, in mining and quarrying, we have agriculture and agro-processing. I can't agree more with the previous speakers who talked about value addition. In BPOs and ICT, in knowledge and education, in finance, in tourism, in housing, and in real estate, in infrastructure development, in energy and water, plus many more. If you want details on this, I will get in touch with you later. The biggest challenge on our economies has always been size of the market. I thank Uganda and the President of Uganda for his lead in creating active and operational regional economic blocks. So the East African Community, COMESA, and Africa are providing good opportunities for business people in the region. You may ask, how do you get in Rwanda? We have a direct Rwanda flight from London to Kigali. Meanwhile, as we wait for Uganda Airlines to start, don't hesitate to use Rwanda Air. And it flies every day of the week. So you are welcome to Rwanda and continue to Uganda. Thank you so much.
This is what happens when diplomats take the boxing gloves off. Now we're noticing it. Now I know that there's another person that'd like to give their speech to the crowd. Is there any other takers? James, I can see you smiling at the end. Done.
You don't need a visa to Rwanda, by the way.
Oh, and it carries on. Here you go, James. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, thank you. Your Excellencies, invited guests, and the esteemed investors. In fact, I will be very brief because we have time. My name is Jimmy Thon from South Sudan, and it's a country that people have known very well. We're full with the resources. South Sudan is a country that I may call it at the moment that is a part of Garden of Eden, which is still Bajan, still fertile. It's a country we have agriculture, and agriculture, we have River Niles, which it comes through Uganda, and it passed there. We have a very big swamp. We have a fish. So if you are interested, those who like fish so much, you go and you make a good for tilapia. We have even catfish. And also we have mining, which is called energy. In South Sudan, when you see, you will be very happy to see mining. And we have the ministry. We can hire you, those who have interest on that. You can be direct to the Ministry of Mining, and you can invest there. We have goals, and we have the ministry which can guide you or authority. Also, infrastructure in South Sudan, in fact, is coming up. It's a country that we are coming up after Uganda, Kenya, and the rest of the countries bordering us. Also, we know any investor, those who are interested to go to South Sudan, the government of South Sudan will assure you to facilitate, to give you a piece of land which you can invest in. Also, the government of South Sudan will be actively processing your registration, which you will not be suffering on that. And also, we request all the investors, those who are interested, to come for the human capital development. We need a development in South Sudan. We have the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education is really moved and establishing all the sectors like technology. Okay, I have been time, but I was leave some of the things. But to make it short, we have oil in South Sudan and gas, and we have 14 blocks, and the operating now is less than that. So we welcome investors, those who are interested to invest there. We will facilitate for you, and thank you for your kindness. Good.
Starting. Thank you very much. My name is Abdul Muhammad. I'm from Somalia. In fact, what I would say is that this is what Somalia will offer to the investors that want to come to invest in Somalia. Somalia current government, which is pro-business, will offer a number of incentives for whoever wanted to invest in Somalia. In fact, the bottom line of investment is a profit, and profit is the people who are willing to take risk. Of course, Somalia is not same like Uganda or Kenya, where there's stability. Having said that, it offers one of the highest return on investment. So if you are pro-business, if you want to get high return, if the return my neighboring countries are offering is not good enough and you want to get more, then you're welcome to come to my country. We are offering tax holidays. The government will allow you not to pay any tax, corporation tax. Also in other areas, reduced tax rate. We're also offering investment protection guarantee, where we have a legal framework that will protect your investment. We have a simplified business registration. In fact, Somalia is already digitalized, from buying tea to buying air ticket. Everything is digitalized. We don't have a paper currency. It's first country in Africa that is 100% digitalized, everything. So that is an opportunity that you can tap into. We also have a sector specific incentives. Any sector that has a multiplier impact in terms of generating job opportunities for young people, government will give you more incentive, and that because we want to attract investors who can create job opportunities. We, Somalia, like our neighbors, so Somalia, the opportunities for investment is limitless. Every sector, everywhere, everything needs an investment, whether it's infrastructure, telecommunication, fishery, everywhere. Just finish it. Somalia being the last addition to the community, it has brought a lot of opportunities. 3,300 coastline, fisheries, maritime resources, and we wanted investors who are willing to take risk. After all, risk is the people who are willing to take a profit is the people who are willing to take a risk. So please, come and invest in Somalia. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, moderator, and thank you everyone for attending this meeting. And I really appreciate for the organizers for organizing this important meeting. And I wish to bring my sincere apologies from His Excellency Mbelwa Kairuki, the Tanzania High Commissioner, for not making today. He was supposed to be here with us, but due to unforeseen circumstances, he didn't manage to come. For the interest of time, I will not have much to say, because the East African countries, they always share the same kind of resources. And Tanzania, we are grateful that we are also a gateway for the East African region. But also we have an opportunity, like they have mentioned other colleagues from other East African countries. We have also abundance of natural resources. But most important thing that I want to mention is in 2020, we managed to graduate from to graduate from a least developing country to a to the lower middle income countries. So our GDP has been growing up for an average of 6% per annum, and this is because of the strategies and commitment that our government and the people of Tanzania have been putting forward. In terms of business environment, we have tried our best to improve the regulatory framework, and we have been engaging various stakeholders, including investors and local business people, to try to listen to them and to make a good, conducive environment for business. Ladies and gentlemen, we also supposed to talk about the diaspora. We have also been, we appreciate the support that we have been receiving from the diaspora community. They've been helping our country in terms of expertise, knowledge sharing, and they've been working with us in various sectors, in agriculture, in education, in health, and they've been our gateway with the rest of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have much to say. I think I will end up here for the interest of time. Thank you.
Tanzania is offering the best opportunity for investors to thrive. Welcome to Tanzania, the land of opportunity.
The United Republic of Tanzania, the land of the Kilimanjaro, the Serengeti and Zanzibar, is strategically located as a gateway to East Africa and the African Great Lakes region. A rising star, Tanzania is a middle-income country that has averaged 7% economic growth over the last decade. It has a population of about 60 million, the majority of whom are young and economically active, and part of a rapidly growing middle class. Accessible through the Indian Ocean, Tanzania connects to 6 landlocked countries. It also offers access to a sizable market of about 177 million people in the East African community and 350 million people in the SADC region. Agriculture is the mainstay of Tanzania's economy. There are over 44 million hectares of arable land and only 33% of them are under cultivation. Some of the potential areas to invest in include sugarcane plantations, cotton, coffee, tea, cashew nut and grape farming, horticulture farms, sisal plantations, wheat plantations, as well as bean and cassava farms. One can also invest in the processing of these crops for export. The manufacturing sector is in its infancy stage, with few exploited areas, whereby unprocessed agricultural commodities have dominated major exports. Tanzania's Vision 2025 envisages an industrialized economy powered by the manufacturing sector, and as such, opens up the country to potential investment, particularly in the area of textile and apparel, sugar, leather, edible oils, heavy industries, pharmaceuticals, tile manufacturing, cable and plastic manufacturing. A 1,424-kilometer long coastline, including 3 large lakes, presents a virtually untapped opportunity in fishing. Opportunities lie in deep-sea fishing, fish farming, fish processing, and supply of fishing gear, just to name a few. Tanzania's wealth extends well beyond the surface. Tanzanite, a gemstone found nowhere else in the world, is testament to the country's mineral riches. Other minerals include gold, coal, diamonds, copper, nickel, cobalt, tin, lead, silver, uranium, rare earth metals, ruby and sapphire. Investment opportunities exist in the areas of exploration, mining and processing.
Welcome to the beautiful islands of Zanzibar. The home to tranquil beaches, pleasant weather, warm tropical waters, and friendly people. Over time, the islands remain to be an abundant source of untapped opportunities for both visitors and investors. The archipelago is open to domestic and foreign sustainable investments to achieve the economic transformation and aspiration of Zanzibar Development Vision 2050. In the momentum of achieving the economic transformation, Zanzibar is promoting investment in key sectors, such as tourism, aquaculture and deep-sea fishing, real estate, processing industries, agriculture, maritime trade and transportation, as well as other marine recreational activities. Tourism is the leading sector of Zanzibar economy. The tropical archipelago, renowned for its coral reefs and rich marine biodiversity that makes it a perfect tourism destination. With a blend of unique cultural heritage, history, and renowned tradition of hospitality, Zanzibar has a competitive advantage in the industry. The tourism sector is expected to increase significantly with the recent initiative of the government to open a few of the small islets to high-end eco-friendly investment. These small islets will cater to a niche market of high-end tourism. Real estate is the emerging and booming business in Zanzibar. Its ideal location makes it a strategic area for real estate development. As the demand for residential and commercial properties is on the rise, the islands offer various opportunities for both developers and buyers of real estate. Agriculture. The agricultural sector is also another avenue that welcomes investors. Zanzibar is blessed with warm temperature climates all year round, which is conducive environment for crops, vegetables, and fruits to be grown and processed, making Zanzibar an ideal location for agro-related industries. Zanzibar is also home to an exotic array of tropical fruits. Globally known as the Spice Island, dating back 1,000 years ago, Zanzibar is endowed with a myriad of valuable spices due to its rich soil such as cloves, cinnamon, and black pepper.
Come and invest in Tanzania.
Thank you. So now we begin. Now let me start this off with something very simple. Conversations of absurdities will create real-world atrocities. We've seen that right the way across the globe, from wars through to economic hardship, through to poverty. The list is endless, and the role of diplomats is constantly changing, as we'll soon find out. They tender a very soft role. Not only do they have to appease you, the business community, not only do they have to appease their governments, but they also have the weight and burden of the public court of opinion. So as we start off this panel, that is totally unscripted, on purpose, I'd like to start off with our guest from Saudi Arabia, because it is rather interesting, in a world where we see non-traditional partnerships, how does Saudi Arabia see East Africa as a unit, as a partner in progress for a nation that for some may say doesn't need East Africa?
Okay, thank you so much. It gives me a great pleasure indeed to be here representing my country, Saudi Arabia. And Mr. Moderator, if you allow me to start with Saudi Arabia, since 2016 had embarked into a transformational phase aiming to diversify the economy and to move away from oil as a single source of, or the major, I mean, it's still the major contribution to the economy, but we are trying to unleash other sector. So with this direction, this has opened up actually opportunities in various sectors in the KSA. For instance, tourism, services, industry, petrochemical, renewable energy. But not only this, Saudi also is after opportunities in other parts of the world. So with its sovereign wealth fund, we're after also an opportunity in other part of the world. And Saudi Arabia is considered Africa and East Africa as a region with a great potential. As a result, there has been more focus toward looking up opportunities in that part of the world, open and establish a channel, trying to creating a platform for business people to collaborate, to exchange opportunities. In fact, there also been increase in the existence of trade office for investment attraction, for investment promotion between the two countries. So East Africa is a dear region to KSA, and we are looking really forward to maximize and increase investment and collaboration between KSA and
I guess the question is, it's why in particular East Africa? You have over 194 countries that Saudi Arabia can build relationships with. East Africa in particular, place for most people when they look at it from the UK perspective, is one that is fraught with hardship. Often what we forget is in this non-aligned movement, countries like Saudi Arabia can be best friends there. But what have you seen as a member of the ambassador staff in the UK, from your compatriots from East Africa, that gives you belief that East Africa can actually do something?
Well, I believe it's, I mean, the growth in this part of Africa is higher. I mean, it's more stable. It's also near in terms of a geographic location. I think it's also culturally is closer to KSA. So, I mean, this gives it a strategic importance, this part of Africa.
Oh, there we go. So, Nimisha, coming to yourself as ambassador for Uganda, and I'm privileged to have met with you a few times before, what is the biggest misconception people have about the role of an ambassador for a nation, especially in the UK? because there's a burden of expectation on your shoulders. One is to open up the marketplace for Ugandan products. Second one is to deal with people's visas and passports. And the other is to build up strong relationships with the Commonwealth. In this world of economic and public diplomacy, is it harder to be you? And what are the misconceptions?
Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to thank Rajan. He's been quite passionate about Uganda and the countries in the region, so thanks for all that. As far as being a diplomat and being, I think, a diplomat, whether you're a head of mission or whether you're an officer, I think what's important is that you have a commitment to your country for whom whom you represent. And it's a challenge. It's every country has its challenges. Even the United States have their challenges. The British have their challenges. So every country has its challenges. So every challenge is an opportunity. So it depends how you look at it. It's an opportunity to do good for the two nations. It's an opportunity to do good for the people around you and for the people that work with you and for whom you want to attract into your country and get them to come. Why is it that everybody longs to go to America? But now you find a lot of people don't really long to go to America. They rather long to go to China or India or Europe or Saudi Arabia or Emirates, So I think these are opportunities rather than a burden. I actually don't take it as a burden at all. I find it's an honor to represent my country, the trust the people and the government and the president have in me. And I think it's a responsibility that we have to take seriously, and it's a good challenge.
But we're talking about the lines of responsibility. Is it harder to get MOUs and lines of credit from the likes of the UK than it is compared to other nations such as Saudi Arabia?
No, I don't. I think every country has its own regulations on how these MOUs are issued, and you also have to protect your nation from people who may be fake. And say, okay, I got $100 million and I'm going to invest it in country X. And then you find out that that person actually stole that money from somewhere through a gang of people. So there has to be, some diligence, some due diligence, and a proper vetting before things are just given a blanket signature.
Which is what I think is a growing role for you as a diplomatic corps, because as much as you're looking for investors, you're looking for the right investors, the people who can add value, but also people who have been vetted through that process. Now, I'm going to come over to a slightly different question, because again, on the notion of absurdities, we've seen that there are protests that do take place in the UK for a variety of different reasons. Now, if I look at South Sudan, and this is something close to a lot of people's hearts, 2023 was difficult. You saw protests in the streets here about South Sudan. Now, you're sitting here as part of the diplomatic corps. One, you want to appease your diaspora, that's here in the UK, but secondly, you need to protect your country's image. James, is it getting harder and harder to do that?
Thank you. In fact, any country, it has its own problem. And to manage a human being, it's not simple. It needs laws to be set. The government of South Sudan and the government of UK, they have to have a bilateral relation whereby they will have interest on economic building, and also they have interest on a developmental issues which we can be shared by both countries. Back to what you have said, if people are making protests here, and I am here, I have to know what is the cause of the protest. And it should be addressed diplomatic. It's not a violence. Protest is somebody express idea, what is so or what he sees is wrong. But as a government, will intervene by addressing that issue, what I am talking about. I have seen protest is not an issue that is really become a hard thing. It's something that guides you. So as a government representative, I have seen it is an issue that two countries where the people are protesting, maybe in here, in UK, for example. So we have to make a bilateral relation by coordinating what is the problem. And if it is a problem at home, then the government is at home sitting there. You will address it accordingly.
I was going to say, if I push the question over to Joseph, when we have a look at countries like Rwanda, it's a similar process. Rwanda's economy has done incredibly well. It's even when I'm in the Caribbean and people speak about the Africa story, Rwanda is the one that everybody cites, not in any competitive way, mind you, either. But is it getting increasingly hard as a diplomatic corps to almost fight a battle on two fronts? One, economically, you're progressing, and people want to see the progress. But the second, you often get players that are almost there to pull you down for every step that you take forward.
Thank you. Well, I can say that it is motivating when you see some progress back home. But then it would be kind of condescending, if I would say, if you feel that you are there. So Rwanda has a feeling that it has a very long way to go. And despite any praises, any achievements, we have a feeling that there is a very long way to go. And what motivates us is when we are sure that we are going in a right direction. That is what is important. And talking of competition, we are not competing with anybody. I mean, when we talk of doing the right things, those who want may do. I mean, every country does its own way. But what we do, we have to make sure we are doing the right thing. We are going in the right direction. We don't have to look at, say, are we competing with this one? Are we ahead of this one? No. We are looking at us and we have our own vision. Thank you.
I like that. I like the fact that you're saying you're progressing, moving ahead with things. Now, when we look at Kenya, part and parcel, part of your diplomatic mission is to build up strategic alliances. It's not with just those on the stage here, but also other embassy officials across the United Kingdom. In your opinion, are people receptive to build up alliances with Kenya? Or what more can be done to provide Kenya the opportunity to be doing more across the UK and the Commonwealth?
Thank you so much. I believe as we are living today, there is no nation that can stand alone. You can't be a lone-standing nation. Building alliances is one of the objectives of every nation. For instance, you can see like right now in East Africa, we have East Africa Community. Also, we have COMESA. In the UK, also, we're seeking with, for other alliances. Also with the European Union. So I believe as a nation to stand, you really need to forge these alliances. Because you see, as much also we are producing out of those alliances, when it comes to, they give us opportunities to market what we have, and also they do also bring up their services, the services, and we offer to our people. So I believe Kenya, one of our strength is to keep on pushing for these alliances, because we believe as a nation we can be lone-standing.
It is working together. Now I can hear that the noise level is rising up here. All my hearing from many flights have dissipated. But I do want to give an opportunity for you as the audience to get involved, because I realize in events like this, it is always a one-way discussion piece. So whilst you think about the questions that are close to your own hearts, which I'm hoping you're going to come forward from, what I like to do is something slightly different. Now, you're all on the stage together, and there must be sometimes burning questions that you have for one another. The whys, the hows, the ifs, the buts, and let me get the trade deal done. From Somalia's point of view, in particular, when you look across the roster of representatives here, what would you want more from your partners on the stage? What would you want them to commit themselves to for your future?
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, a lot. Somalia is...
Can everybody hear the microphone? If not, can we get a working mic over, please? And I'll do
yeah,
the running.
yeah. It's okay. I think it's okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We need to learn and get help a lot from our neighbors. Somalia is emerging from long time of conflict and civil wars, and also Somalia was just last year, I think, or beginning of this year, became a member of East Africa Community, and Somalia mainly rely on expertise and knowledge from our neighbors, and our collaboration with the rest of the community will mean a lot to Somali people.
So when you look at your compatriots on the page, on the stage here, if you were addressing them directly, what do you want them to be able to do for you? This is your Dragon's Den moment here.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things that comes to my mind and mind to every Somali is that Somalia is ready for business. There's a lot we can offer to our neighbors. Having said that, there's also a lot we can learn from them, and especially one area that we need to learn from our neighbors is technical know-how. Somalia has 75% of our population is less than 30%. Our education wasn't that strong. We were not manufacturing engineers, doctors for the last 30 years. And the country is undergoing a lot of development for the next 5 to 10 years. Somalia now debt-free, security is improving. And here we need your expertise and come and invest in our country and win-win situation.
Well, I know it's a bit tight for timing, and I wish that I could have had a lot more time with you. But what I will do is, if you do have questions, do let me know. Now, if you like these types of conversations, you may know that we've done an entire Uganda series, and it's looking right the way across the globe, from interview pieces with President Museveni through to leaders and movers and shakers. In fact, over 600,000 people per week have a look at our content, making us one of the largest institutions, even bigger than your Ministry of Tourism. But it doesn't stop there. We take conversations from over 46 countries with heads of states getting involved every single week. Now, I'll go back to where I started from. Conversations of absurdities will create real-world atrocities. I hope, through the course of today's festivities, through the conversations that you've heard, we can go away and realize when we do business, it has real-world impact. It does not just impact our pockets, but it impacts the societies in which we invest in. And as governments, hopefully we take our responsibilities further. As much as it is lovely coming to London and seeing the sights and sounds, every decision that we take will impact an entire generation to come. On that note, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining me on this very short panel, but hopefully this will be the first of many more. I kept you my timing for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.